What have they been able to overcome? All this will be part of the conversation this morning. Remember that on Global Morning, we bring you to speed with the national dailies, where we reel out the major headlines for the day, because you deserve to know what's happening around. And remember that we are given to news and current affair because you need to stay current with the trends around the globe. And two major conversations will be going down today on Global Morning, where we'll be talking about the independent national election, in fact, how independent have they been? Talking about INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, how independent have they been? These are the kind of questions a lot of people are asking. How many times will you tell us you've learned from your past mistake, and same mistake repeat itself again? How digital are we? Are we even capable of going digital? How yes, just think back memory lane, you're forecasting to the future, you look at the present. Yesterday is the past, today is the present, tomorrow is the future. You look into these two areas and just know what we are doing. How far have we been able to go? We're still waiting. Nigerians are still waiting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Revolution happens in different ways. This could be our own revolution, the hunger in the land. After this, what's next for Nigerians? I think one of the news that actually caught my fancy yesterday is the fact that the federal government is putting in efforts to increase food production. And while I was going through that story, I came to realize that one of the reasons why the federal government, instead of pushing for the reduction of price and of the commodity food, especially in the market, is they want food to be available. By the time food is available everywhere, the inflation will control itself. Demand will reduce, because the higher the demand, the more the inflation. What causes inflation is high demand. And of course, when the money is not there, what would you say about the high demand? All right, it is Global Morning, and of course, my name is Ramsey Enoch, and I will be right here pushing it gradually. And of course, these are the things we should know. The creation of states in Nigeria. How many states do we need to create more in Nigeria? I'm talking about the fact that some persons are already clamoring that they need a state. Yeah, every state will benefit from it. All right, at least Benue will have maybe 2 or 3 more states, as the case may be, because I know Apa State is sure. I'm very sure of that. Then some other states. Anyama State, a lot of people have been clamoring for states. Okura State in Kogi State, and so many other states to be created. But then you begin to look at the economy, and you begin to look at the fact that then at that point, probably the only lucrative job that we may have in Nigeria is political offices, as the case may be. But then I don't know how that is really going to do, is the totality of the local government autonomy, because people believe if the local government have autonomy and the money is sent there directly, the people at that point will feel the impact, all right, of whatever it is that has happened. And let's talk about security a little bit, the insecurity in the country. Let's talk about it a little bit. I think to an extent, the authorities are trying their best, but there is something that I will always keep saying. The issue of insecurity in Nigeria is not just the sole responsibility of the government. You have a role to play, I have a role to play. We all have roles to play to make sure these things happen and everything become history. How would that happen? When we are able to let the authorities, the security operatives know that probably your own cousin, or maybe somebody in your neighborhood is constituting nuisance, and that person is part of the people terrorizing this country. This is the truth. The moment your brother, I'm not praying that your brother become an armed robber or maybe a terrorist, but the moment they become terrorists, if they are causing destructions, they won't spare you. That's the reason you need to voice out to support the security operatives in fighting insecurity in the country. Congratulations to the honorable chairman of Ogbaribo local government for foiling, and of course the security operatives for foiling the activity of kidnappers, all right, and terrorists in that access. They were actually intercepted, and of course the rest is history. Congratulations to Honorable Sunday. And as a matter of fact, according to the statement that came from the media officer of to the media aide to the chairman of Ogbaribo local government, talking about Jerome, in fact that statement was intensive, and that is an encouragement to the security operatives and some form of an alert, okay, a warning to everyone that wants to terrorize that local government. I think this is what every chairman of every local government council should be doing, because in that your territory, you are the number one chief security of that local government council. The governor of the state is the number one security officer, all right, in charge of the state. So if everyone can take charge of their territory, it's going to be a very a good one, as a matter of fact. That's a very good one from there, and we want to say let this continue. Wow. Before we go look into the national dailies, I think it will be important for you to know that so many war happening in the People's Democratic Party, and some persons are even defecting. You can see that some people are leaving the party already. That's to tell you of how much Nigerians have lost hope in the People's Democratic Party. Some persons are feeling disappointed already. You know why? Because a lot of Nigerians felt that the People's Democratic I saw a write-up where Kenneth Okonkwo, one of the persons that was everywhere in 2023, came out to say, well, he's somehow fed up to an extent with what is happening in the Labour Party, and I think his near defection, as the case may be, all right, anything can happen. A lot of people are defecting, and of course sitting very comfortably. And 2027 is around the corner. Why not put your house in order and give APC a run for their money? And APC Chief Stein has once said on this platform, on one of our breakfast shows, that it is not even sweet. All right, politics is not sweet when there is no opposition. And he was like, well, the PDP needs to rise up, to wake up and give APC a run for their money, as the case may be. Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed and see how all of that will pan out. But then the good news is the fact that there will soon be light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if I should talk about this a little bit, because while I was coming this morning, you know, sometimes we commute with other passengers, other Nigerians, because if you really want to know what is happening in Nigeria, it's not like sitting in the comfort of your home. Apart from the things you see on social media, which is not totally refined, which is not credible 100%, the interactions you have with people in commercial vehicles go a long way informing you about some of the things happening in Nigeria and how some Nigerians feel. The argument this morning, let me just put the argument straight to you. Some of the passengers were telling the driver that, why is it that when there is a reduction in the price of fuel, the fare skyrockets, But when there is a reduction, nothing happens. And the man was like, you're talking about reduction, the driver now. You're talking about reduction. How much is the reduction? We're talking about 30 naira here. And someone said, oh, 30 naira? But when the president then, assuming office, is not even assuming office, from the presidential speech when he said subsidy is gone, before they even left the Eagle Square, there were queues in filling stations already. Some were not selling, the price skyrocketed immediately. But now there is a reduction, even if it is 10 naira. Why not reduce the cost of fare? Why not reduce the fare? Why not reduce the transportation? Because a lot of people are going through so much. If there is a reduction of 30 naira, by the time you buy 300 liters, or probably, let's just say 100 liters or 10 liters, and you multiply 30 naira by 10, 30 naira by 20, 30 naira by 30, you know what it is? It is a reduction. That's what we're talking about. So there should be a total reflection of whatever happens, all right, to refuel, so that Nigerians can really know that, as a matter of fact, the reduction is all right. But the issue of when things go up, the prices of service products go up in Nigeria, it doesn't come down. That's so unfair, all right? The law of gravity should also be applicable to the price of goods and services in Nigeria. We're just saying this because Nigerians are going through so much of this challenging economy. That's what it is. So I think the authorities should do what they need to do. Those monitoring the sale of petroleum should try as much as possible to make sure the pumps are not adjusted, because that's the complaint. A lot of drivers are complaining, commercial motorists, that's what they are complaining about. All right, we'll go on a quick break, and after this break we'll return, and of course it will be time for us to look at the national dailies. What are the papers saying? After the papers, we'll go in for the AM news at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. Then after the news, we'll bring to you the first conversation. Then the second conversation follows after the first conversation. Stay with us on Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
back. It is Global Morning, and of course, this time for us to look at the national dailies. So many things happening, and of course, the papers are saying so much this morning. Like I was saying, someone was saying, hey, do you need to just let everyone know that this is a kind of conversation that goes on in commercial vehicles? And, we are not like, okay, I won't say this before Queen will say, I'm trying to like drag her. Okay. but the truth is, these are things we will say all the time, that informations on social media are not verifiable, and that's the reason we bring to our viewers the national dailies. So which of the papers do we start from? Well, Queen, as a matter of fact, let me start from the Punch newspaper and see how punchy it is. I know Queen loves papers like any paper that has to do with daily. He said that she do Daily Trust or Daily Times because she likes daily alerts. All right, let's begin with the Punch newspaper this morning. On the Punch newspaper, the first headline says tariff hike. Labour subscribers plan telcos shuts down March 1st. And of course, I don't know, but then we'll talk about this. Let's just go through the headlines. First, tax reform. That's another story right there. Reps divided as bills scale first reading. Details you can actually find on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Talking about tariff hike. This is something that a lot of people have been complaining about for a while now. This is tariff hike. We've not finished talking about tariff hike. The banks are increasing charges. It is not business as usual. In case you begin to see some charges when you make transactions, apart from the POS that charges more, some persons depending on your location. But then, what about the automated teller machine card? All right, when you use it with the machine, even if it is not your bank's machine, the charges is much. But now NLC is concerned about the telco tariff hike because so many things are involved. And as a matter of fact, Labour and subscribers plan telcos shut down by the first day of March. If anything is not being done, but if you want to talk about shut down, you're talking about shut down. Is it that we won't make calls anymore, or they will just reduce the price, or they will tell people not to use the telcos, not to subscribe anymore? But you must subscribe. What will you do? Because as it is right now, our SIMs are connected. Our NIN connected to our SIMs and all of that. But then, I don't know, 50% hike. That's something. It's much. It's much. But then, how much trust do Nigerians have in NLC? That's the question. Because NLC have told us in the past that they want to go on strike, and before you know what's happening,
the blink of an eye.
Within a twinkle of an eye, they've suspended the strike after negotiations. What are the negotiations about? What is the outcome of the negotiation on plain black and white? We never get that, but all we will hear is that the strike has been suspended and everyone returned back to work.
We don't want a situation where we throw our weight behind the NLC and before you know it, the NLC makes a U-turn or a reversal. So we want to be in the fono. That's why we're asking, what exactly is the NLC doing, and how can we say that we're banking completely on the NLC and trusting the NLC and trusting whatever judgment they come up with as regards this tariff hike. So we hope that they do the needful and not just make a U-turn on us like that as they've always done severally.
Well, I think Nigerians are going through so much right now looking at the challenging economy. So if you're increasing tariff, Okay, telcos increasing tariff, then banks are increasing bank charges. It is something, it's so much on Nigeria. I don't know what it means, but then I think all this is coming from the cost of rendering services to consumers. Well, let's see how that is going to go. But then another story that is actually making round on the papers this morning is the tax reform and how the Senate is divided. Reps divided as bills scale first reading. Meaning some persons are in support and others are not in support. So many things happened during when the tax reform came, when the bill came to the National Assembly, to the House of Rep. You know what? A committee was actually set up. All these are recommendations, all right, from the committee, not the president himself. But then, when people came up to say, well, we are not satisfied with all this tax reform and everything that it entails, because of the complaint, the federal government, the presidency, has to set up a committee to look into it again. I think what is going on now is in accordance with what the submissions of the committee, but then that the House of Rep is divided is where the problem is right now. But as it is, I think the tax reform, for some persons it's okay. For other people, they are still saying, well, we are not comfortable with it. All right, now more stories from the Punch newspaper. Federal government may ban trucks as tanker fire claims 493. I was telling,
can imagine.
I was telling someone yesterday, see, death in Nigeria now. I don't know, losing loved ones. Before, if one person dies, it's a whole lot, but now look at 493 because of explosions. And these explosions, we don't even know who to attribute the fault to. Is it the fault of the trucks?
There are a whole lot. First of all, it will be the trucks because, and then the regulatory policies, the safety measures for both tanker owners and tanker drivers, and then bad roads as well. There's so much, in fact, everything altogether. A few days ago, yesterday if I'm not mistaken, permit me, we on the program, we had someone come in, in-house analyst, Professor Ibrahim, come in here. And we're discussing about the peculiarities of these fallen tankers, and then moving forward, how we tackle it, the causes and all of this. And believe me, there were a lot of concerns around the truck, the safety of the trucks. Some of these trucks are expired as far back as 2017 or thereabouts, or things needs to be done. They are rusted, and they need to be properly. Those trucks should be set aside, proper maintenance and all of those, and they're not done to those trucks. You see these trucks moving day in, day out, continuously. And then usually when we have fallen tankers like that, we don't expect a spill. There's usually not supposed to be a spill because there's something that is supposed to be, on those tankers, so that whenever it falls down, there are those spills that can cause explosion. But because these safety measures are not taken seriously here in Nigeria, these tankers fall down, and before you know it, there's oil spill, there's fuel spill, and in the twinkle of an eye, there's an explosion. And so that we can attribute to the fault of the truck owners, because they're not taking proper care of the trucks, and they're not ensuring that trucks that are not fit, they're not roadworthy, are not sent out. We're all after money, we're all after, and then the drivers as well. Drivers should not be working overtime. Some of these drivers, sometimes they are high on drugs, or they are overly worked, and they are sleepy, and they are tired, and so you see them moving day in, day out just to meet targets. So it is the job of the drivers themselves to look after themselves, but more importantly, the job of the tanker owners, the truck owners, these companies, to ensure that their drivers are fit to ply our roads or travel our roads. When I say fit, I'm talking about mentally fit, physically fit, emotionally fit. They are properly rested, they are not running double or multiple shifts at a time, and they are overseeing basic safety requirements to ensure that these trucks do not become havoc on our roads, or hazards or not hazardous on our roads. And then our roads. We cannot overemphasize the importance of having good roads here in this part of the country. Time and time again, outside of trucks falling down, we've had multiple accidents. Some of the roads that we see are federal roads. It's quite pathetic that these roads are federal roads and nothing is done about it. For years, people have been complaining. I would like to make specific examples. The Benin Express Road. Benin, is it Benin Auchi or Benin Express Road there?
Yeah.
It's in a very dilapidated state. We'll see when you drive around that road, a journey that's supposed to take you 3 hours can take you 9 hours or more. Because
that's just one
amongst many. Yes, I'm talking about that particular road because
you applied that road a couple of times.
So I can tell you for a fact how terrible it is, and so we need to pay attention. And so in such circumstances we can have accidents. I can't tell you the number of cars that broke down on that road while I was flying that road. Trucks can fall down there, and it continues to destroy the roads. And the sad thing is, when we continue to have vehicles break down, trucks, heavy duty truck break down on that road, it even becomes worse than it was before. So we need to pay proper attention. And now to the explosion part. Now, commuters, I don't know how we can overemphasize. I don't know. We cannot overemphasize the importance of educating these people. But people have attributed it to see there's hunger in the land. So no matter how you talk from now,
if you're going to talk about hunger, what about your life? People's life.
Absolutely. So you're putting your life at risk. But that's the thing with hunger. When people are hungry, they are desperate. So they are not thinking right. They're not thinking right. Anything that comes their way. So you wonder why people are selling their fellow human beings for 50,000. It is desperation. And Nigerians are getting to that point where they are desperate. That they don't care. Lives don't matter anymore as long as they get food in. And that's not a place we want to be as a nation. Because people can do very unthinkable things. It's happening. And so if people can go scot-free at the expense of their life, what can they not do to another human being for food or for money? And so we should also try, the government should also try to also ensure that some of these sufferings are mitigated somehow or alleviated. The poverty, there should be poverty alleviation scheme, just something to ensure that the sufferings are not heavy on Nigerians.
Yeah, just something to make sure the suffering, the hunger is reduced at least to the barest minimum, even if it can be stopped completely. I think one of the things that caught my attention while you were speaking is the possibility of not having fuel spill when there's a fall. Half soft, because the spillage is what results to this explosion. Because by the time people are rushing, camping to fetch this fuel, so they can go and sell and all of that from the spilling products, that's where there is this explosion. Then fire gets ignited and there is an explosion. And remember that these products are highly inflammable. So the fire is unthinkable. Anything can happen. More headlines still coming from the Punch newspaper. This one is about the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Abia PDP chapter defies National Working Committee order. Otom and Yangon Face panel March 4th. And that takes us to the big story. That's the star story on the Punch newspaper. Tinubu's re-election. ACF orders tackle Ganduje over no vacancy comment. I'm not going to talk more about that. This one, just two riders to that story. Babachi hint at North's consensus candidate as ACF. Mohammed counter APC chair. All right, let's see what happens from there. If you want to get the details, pick a copy of the Punch newspaper and go through what Ganduje said that the papers is referring to as tackling, all right, over no vacancy. Then this one says, Tony Elumelu Foundation partners UAE entities to empower African entrepreneurs. One of the things that his foundation has done in the past is empowering entrepreneurs, and that's the same thing he's partnering with UAE entities to do more in Africa. This one says reps summon customs CG over officers' retirement. It came to the fore that some very senior officers have refused to retire from the Nigerian Customs Service, and nobody knows why. So the CG is being summoned. That's the Controller General. Hoodlums in court for abducting policeman in Ondo State. Then finally, from the Punch newspaper, APC hires private firm for membership e-registration. Details you can find on page 14. That's APC is going digital if you want to register. And this another way. This is another way to have a lot of people registering as members of APC. E-registration. You don't need to bother yourself, go to the office. You don't need to bother yourself, go to the office. You can make every necessary payment online, everything e-registration, and you become a member of the All Progressive Congress. Well, let's see how possible that can be, and let's see if the other parties are also going to take cue from that. But then, this is Nigeria, anything is possible. But then the more members the APC have, the better for them in 2027. But then 2027, well, let's see how all of that is going to end. Over to you for the next paper.
Point of call. Our next point of call will now be the Daily Times for you. It's a daily affair, and so the big story here on the Daily Times says NLC declares daily telecoms boycott over tariff hike. We have quite a number of writers for you, one of which is urges Nigerians to drop MTN, Airtel, Glo daily from February 13th. Halts data purchases as it threatens total nationwide shutdown by March 1st. And also, disciplinary panel, Benway PDP disowns petitions against Otom and others. Tinubu announces AI tech partnership with Google. We also have on the front page of the Daily Times here, federal government reaffirms commitment to local government autonomy. Nigeria in darkness as national grid collapses. And then we have HOR passes tax reform bills for second reading. Lastly, on the Daily Times, we have federal government advocates shift to 12-year basic education mode. But I didn't want to react to the mood. But I didn't want to react to the national grid collapse again, and the reaction national grid collapse again, and the reactions of Nigerians as expected. Nigerians would react because it's becoming a norm that every Eke market day, the national grid collapses. And now I think that explains why I didn't have lights in my house until much later. I'm sure there's some people who are still in darkness. Yesterday I went to the salon, and it was unusual for my salon not to have, electricity at that time, And she was complaining about how it has been since morning, 10 a.m. in the morning until it was somewhere around past 7 p.m. and there was still no light. So I want to believe now that it should be attributed to the national grid collapse that has caused a shutdown, everywhere, and has affected businesses. And it is sad that it has become a norm. When I went home yesterday, it was unusual because I usually always have light when I get home.
Probably on band A.
I should be on band A. I want to say that I think I have light 23 hours and 24 hours.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
I think it's good to know because these are good testimonies. If we begin to hear testimonials like this, we know that some are Nigerian than others. Some are in band A, some are in band B, C, D, E.
What do you mean by that? Not some Nigerians that are more Nigerians than others?
Hardly you hear Nigerian said, I have lights 24 hours. For you to say you have lights 23 out of 24 hours,
yes.
that is approximately 24 hours.
You mean what? More Nigerian than some Nigerians?
No, not just you. You're not the only one living in that location. Okay. There are a lot of other people living in that location. Or probably we can say there is an improvement in power supply now, because one of the things this administration promised was part of it, power. Because but now you have light all the time, you have power all the time. Just yesterday that there was no light, your salonist was complaining. Probably she doesn't have a generating plant because there's always light there. As a matter of fact, that's how it should be for all Nigerians. I have a generating plant, very big one, but that I have not used for several months because there was no need for it. There was no need for it. So Nigerians are waiting for that time when every local government council we have light, like Queen has in her place. Is a different case in my area anyway.
But what's the light situation like in your
area? The light situation is rational. It's rational. Today I'm going to have the light, maybe 2 days in, 2 days out. But then if we are getting this testimonial,
but it's 2 days out, there's complete blackout for 2 days.
That's what it is.
That's not a rational way to.
That's what it is. But then one of the major problems is even the fact that majority of these people who jump from one house to the other to disconnect people are even contract staffs who are not real employees of this Abuja Electricity Distribution Company or PHCN, as the case may be. But then their activities is something else. Apart from the fact that it's an estimated bill because they disconnected and nobody is saying anything about it. I think something needs to be done. Something needs to be done so that at least everybody can be a Nigerian to the core. Not that some people are having enough light. Probably they're even using prepaid meter. So it's pay as you go. You understand? But these are the persons that don't have prepaid meter, they don't have any meter at all. Nothing is reading, nothing. Just these people wake up overnight and they come and say, these people living in this house, we've seen them when they are going to work in the morning, they dress fine. Let's give them this bill. They should be paying like 50,000 naira a month. These are very, very unfortunate circumstances,
Yes. And we hope that something is done about it. The other day, just to react to like what you just said, how people who are not staffs of PHCN go about disconnecting electricity. It also happens, on the roads as well. A few days ago, I was on my way to the office, and then some people from AMAC, I don't know, but AMAC cannot saddle with the responsibilities of checking papers, vehicle papers, stopping people to check vehicle papers and, all of that. So people just assume responsibilities, go on the road and start inspecting vehicles or, doing whatever it is.
Actually, they are not vehicle inspection officers.
They are not there. When you see these people, you know that they probably just wearing T-shirts from even AMAC, or maybe not from AMAC. But when I began to talk to them and say, okay, you know what? I'm a press person. Why in particular is my vehicle stopped? And you could see that, these people are illegally on the road just to, at the instance, they're giving you salutes, to give them something. And when you're not bulging, they are unnecessarily demanding for what is not their responsibility to do. So I think it's just the same way we have people, get on the roads, they
but that's criminal.
Nuisances on
that's
the road
criminal.
And, disturbing people, disturbing their time, and disrupting their activities for the day by just stopping them on the road. So I think that needs to be checked as well. People just assume responsibilities, just the way we have fake soldiers. They wear uniforms just so that they can be given that respect of being, and then they extort from ordinary Nigerians. So we need to put that in check so that people are not assuming responsibilities that they have not been given to. Because in most cases, because that's not their line of duty, they end up constituting nuisances, because that's what they are, and then, disrupting the activities of well-meaning Nigerians. And so we need to...
Houses, crops in Kaduna community. So many things still happening in Kaduna State, even though we're not having it so terrible the way it was with the past administration. This one says 49 years on, Murtala's legacy still visible, and that's what it is. If you do well, your legacy will be visible, and the only thing somebody can be remembered for is good legacy. All right, 49 years on, Murtala's legacy still visible. This one says Egypt's president may shun talks with Trump over Gaza. All right, details on page 24. And now to the big story. The kicker sees tax reform. Reps wants contentious sections expunged. Two riders to that story seek clarity on conflict with constitutional provisions. Then the second rider says oppose inheritance tax, propose VAT reduction. All right, VAT reduction, that's what they are proposing. Then they are opposing inheritance tax. The tax reform actually raised a lot of dust, but then let's see how all of this will end. We're waiting for what is going to be the outcome of the tax reforms. All right, this one says 50% tariff hike. Labour threatening telecoms must shut down. Telecoms must shut down. All right, well, finally from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, this one says Lassa fever kills 12 in Ondo State. Well, I think something needs to be done ASAP so that it doesn't escalate, and the people who are affected already should be treated. Well, Queen, this is going to be the size of the National Daily. Let's go on a quick break so that we can bring to you the AM news at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock.
And after which, we'll bring you topical discussions of national interest. So please stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues,
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. Coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Incomsat. The four tax reform bills transmitted to the National Assembly in 2024 by President Bola Tinubu have scaled second reading at the House of Representatives. The bill scaled second reading on the floor of the Green Chamber 6 months after the President retransmitted them to the National Assembly for consideration, following the recommendations of the Taiwo Oyedele-led Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Relations invites the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, to appear before the House over the failure of some senior officials to retire after reaching their due retirement dates. A statement issued by the head of media, House Committee on Public Petition, Chuks Oko, named the concerned officers as Iman, Umar and Ego, all assistant controllers, and Awe Fatai and Faith, all controllers. Issuing the summon, the committee noted that the Comptroller General has a duty as a public officer to clarify the situation to Nigerians. Benue State government has signed a memorandum of understanding with Abyss Premium Livestock Processing Limited to build, transfer and operate an automated livestock plant in the state. Correspondent Felicity Ndewe reports that the processing plant will be done under a public-private partnership for Benue State government.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding is aimed at ensuring hygiene of slaughterhouses as well as animal production and management. Chief Executive Officer and founder of Abyss Premium Livestock Processing Limited, Emmanuel Usman, said the initiative would not only promote animal and meat hygiene, but also create job opportunities and increase revenue generation for the state.
This concept we are selling to state in order to address the issue of herders and also farmers.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by the secretaries to the state government, Deborah Abe, emphasized that the state is open to innovation and businesses that will enhance the well-being of its residents. Abe assured that the state government will provide the land and the needed security for smooth implementation of the public-private partnership.
This MOU has spelled out obligations. I want all of us to be at rest that an MOU document just allows us to engage the Benue State government and Abyss, but going forward with the leadership of the Attorney General and everybody that